Hi, I'm Rachel Neville. I'm an artist, I'm a photographer, and a former dancer. At the end of 2024, something completely unexpected happened. Through meditation, I opened to channel. It's a bit of an origin story, that's for sure. But what's relevant now is that I am a vessel for Artemis, who is also one of my primary guides, and a whole host of other beings who step forward to bring us messages, who call themselves the collective. This is a real channeled session, shared with permission, meant to help you reconnect to your own inner guidance, your own sense of the greater consciousness around us. No scripts, no performance. I need to be clear about my role here. I'm the vessel. I'm sort of like a radio. The wisdom comes through me, but I'm not the source of it. My job is to create these sacred spaces for the messages to come through. Your job is to allow for the vibration to sit into your system, to sink into your tissues, and allow your cognitive mind to absorb the information. For transparency, any long pauses that naturally occur during a transmission may have been trimmed just for flow. Basic audio and lighting may be adjusted a little bit, but really nothing else has been changed. The messages and the energy remain completely authentic. If you feel called to be here, welcome. Your presence shapes some of the messages that come through. Good evening, everyone on this call. Cassandra, I think I remember you from last week too. Claudia, I'm excited to see you here. Sarah does have that list. We made a list of your questions from last time. So please feel free to dialogue. This is what I always say at the beginning of these meetings when new people are in this space, that first of all, that this is I take it that everybody knows what channeling is, so I won't take the time to go into that. But the way this particular channel works is that they love questions. So they often begin these evenings or these sessions in a very organized way. They like to bring us all together energetically with a quick meditation, and they often then proceed into some kind of teaching that is generally targeted towards the people that are in the room. And then they open the floor to any questions. And the first thing I will say about that is that, and for those that have been around me for a little bit of time, like Prezi, you will know, they love you to interact with them as if they are in the room. They prefer questions. They like that interaction. They love it when you ask them questions and move the whole conversation forward. And so they will always welcome anything that you are wanting to find out about or know about. For those of you who have less experience with my system, the primary primary being goes by the name of Artemis. And she is what we would call a gatekeeper for this particular channel. So very frequently, other people's guides will come through, other beings that are being called upon to answer questions will come through, and she holds the space in a very safe and loving way. So in case you see a different being come through, so very frequently you can tell because the tone changes or my physicality will change. And Preez is nodding because she's seen it. You'll see the whole countenance change just a little bit. So, and when I know I read, yeah, we totally will, Claudia. I see your question that came up in the chat. The questions that you texted me after the last session, Claudia texted me a whole bunch of really cool questions. You guys, Sarah, I'm so excited for you to be on the call to hear these. And Sarah will be able to read them off to me. There was someone who came through who really wanted to answer you. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was definitely other beings that came through for us tonight. So having said that, before I begin, does anyone have any questions before I drop in? More than likely, they're going to start with a quick meditation. But just in general about the process or the channeling or any of that kind of thing, I wanted to open.
Do you care? I have a quick question, just logistically. Do you care if I'm on camera, off camera? Because I'm in a car. You
Not at
don't care.
all.
I'm going to
However,
go off camera then, just to make it easier for everybody else since
yeah,
I'm
not
moving.
at all. Not at
Okay.
all. I,
I'm
I, yeah, because it may feel more comfortable or less comfortable for you. That's what I would go off of. For me,
okay.
when I get into it, Sarah, I can't see anything.
Yep, I do. I do. Yeah. And I just want to be part of this collective. We're all here for a reason and to be part of this. So I am here and very present, and I will ask any questions that come up for me as I'm just going to be in the moment. So don't have any
Per-
right now,
Perfect. Please
but
do.
I know I will. Okay, great.
All right. And so without saying any more, let me just drop in and see what they have to say for us tonight. So, well, welcome, welcome. We are so glad to see you here. I am Artemis, and this evening we do have others who would like to come through and speak with you. We know there are a few on the call who are less associated with this type of work in general to begin with. And so we would like to open the evening with a brief meditation intended not only to center you within your core, but also to join our circle together energetically and allow for the free flow of information and the assistance of your guides and supportive beings, as well as those who are part of the collective. And so, if you would find yourself in a seated position, if it is at all possible for you to feel your spine elongating through the central core of your channel up through your crown, find your hands open and inviting on your lap. And we would have you breathe in and out. And this evening we will practice box breathing, as it is called, breathing in for a count of 4, holding for a count of 4, exhaling for a count of 4, and holding for a count of 4. Breathing in, hold, exhaling, hold, in, hold, exhaling, hold. As you see, this type of breathing does not disengage or activate the nervous system, but brings it into a quiet equilibrium. It is very useful for moments through your day that have great levels of activity and tend to deplete your nervous system. The evenness of tone that it creates within your system is also helpful at times of slight distress, where you need to be active, but not activated. And as you continue to breathe, we would have you focus on an area of your body that feels as though there is heat running through it. This evening, rather than tension, we will look for the heat. This may feel like stimulation. This may feel like activation. but quite literally looking for a location of heat. And as you continue breathing, we would draw that breath into the space where that sensation is holding. And as you exhale, visualize a release of the heat into the space surrounding you. And as you breathe in, maintain that release. As you hold, allow the sensation to live. And as you release, continue to release that feeling, that sensation, that heat away from your system. As you continue to draw in your breath, we focus now on the heart center, and we would have you take specific breaths that activate your core being. And by this activation, we are looking for a sensation similar to the dispelling of the heat. Feel the sensations as they arise and fall throughout that area. Allow them to disperse away from your physicality, forward, sideways, backward. As this intensity continues to grow, allow it to take shape in whatever form feels authentic. And as you continue to breathe through this space, we now will reverse the polarity and bring it closer and closer into your system. And as you release all tension away from your body and allow that heart center to feel activated and alive, your intention this evening to connect to your own personal home or core, in addition to those who come to provide service for you, has been met. This evening, as you come back into your body, we first, before taking questions, would like to address the concept of being the observer of your cognitive mind. This is a concept we have introduced in the past, and we would like to dive into it with more detail. What is it to be an observer of the cognitive mind? This is a practice that is discussed in many
modalities. The initial intention is to realize that the thoughts, the cognitive mind loop, as it continues to oscillate from past to future to current to past to future to current, is in constant motion. And this home, this activation that you just felt is separate from it. And in the space between, we have what we call the present moment or the now. So often it is thought that being in the present, in the now, dictates a focus on literally this present moment, and this one, and this one, and this one. And we would give you the idea this evening that this is impossible. For as the cognitive mind continues flowing in its loops, referencing past, creating future, moving back and forth, what is actually occurring is a past-based creation of the future moment, moment by moment, literally moment by moment. Each breath in is a cause of the exhale. Each putting the foot forward in a step is a cause of the previous foot transferring the weight. The only way to quite literally be in this current moment is to completely stop the cognitive mind. And for this, we would be deceased. And so, in the quest to observe, our quest to observe is not to stop the mind, to not realize that it is part of us in continuity as quite literally the machine. You may slow it down. You may pause it for a heartbeat. You may ignore it and become not aware of it. But it is in constant motion, and indeed, you would like it to be. So what is this observing state? This observing state is allowing yourself to recognize the continual thought loops that run the show. The continual thought loops. And in the space of recognizing the continual thought loops, imagine you thinking to yourself, that was a lot of thought. That was a lot of negativity. That was a lot of this particular thing I was thinking. In that moment, literally that moment of observing that which you thought, or that which you anticipate thinking. Same thing. That is the moment where the emotion and the feeling body enter into the equation and are able, with tonality, to shift that thought. And with a shift in thought, a shift in energy, a shift in emotion, that thought loop can be changed. And you may think of these thought loops created from experiences from the time that you were born as a loop that is in a continual spin cycle. And when we wish to change the continual spin cycle to create something new within our lives, it is very difficult to do with the same spinning action. What there is to do is shift that action, even if just a little bit. So we attempt to shift the thought just a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit, until you do not recognize and the thoughts have changed. And that is why we utilize the idea of becoming the observer. And the more frequently you can become the observer, the more you can shift, the more you can change, the more creation is a possibility of endlessness. In the beginning of this exercise, one may find a release for a moment. One may find a release for a moment or two in that day and then forget the next day, and then come back to it and then forget, and then come back to it and forget. And we would have you think of this like building a muscle. The more frequently you can remember to do this practice, if even for one moment, the easier it is to come back to it when you need it. Oh, I find myself in a difficult situation. I'm observing my reaction. I'm observing my reaction. I'm observing my reaction. Allows the reaction to be different. And now we would love to take your questions.
I will go ahead and open with some questions we received earlier. The first of which is, does inner Earth exist?
Yes. I am Ursula. I am from that which you would call inner Earth. You think of it as a place, a location, but it is more of an energetic way of being that is within all living things. The energies that subtract from the earth core and move through the mantle to reach the filaments connecting all plant-like beings throughout your planet participate in different ways in your communities. Our way of moving through these tendrils is of great importance to all living things on your planet. For we filter and we grow and we protect. You will not think of us as human-like animals, but rather more like dispersed, particulate bodies of harmonious, energetic entities. For those of you who are not familiar, we have been in and surrounding your planet for a significant amount of time. For those of you in connection with the earth, we come to you with an understanding of your need to continuously flow with your energetic bodies towards Mother Nature. Okay, I'm going to stop right there because, like, what was that? I'm sorry, not to be disrespectful, but I know nothing about this one, like nothing about this one. And I'm sort of flabbergasted. Does anybody have questions? I'm so buzzing, so they're still here, but I'm not even sure what to ask.
There were some additional questions on that original list that have to do with inner earth as well, if
Yeah,
you'd like.
yeah, go for it.
So there's a follow-on question that asks, are there different kinds of beings, humans and other life forms, that live in inner earth in harmony with each other? And can we form communities to attain such a state of being in this lifetime?
Yes, humans do not live in inner earth as we would call it based on your description. There are multiple different types of energies and beings in multiple different locations throughout the universe, within Earth being one of them. Are we harmonious? Yes. Can we live all together in harmony currently on this planet? That does not always look like it from our perspective. Within our lifetime, certainly not. But within the next few generations, most probably. This is a significant question as pertains to transformation, not just on your planet, but in the beings surrounding your planet as well. Okay. I mean, that's pretty specific, right? I'm just kind of floored because I knew that question was coming because that was a Claudia question. And I was like, I don't know anything about this. Let's ask.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, I don't know any, like, I don't really know where inner earth is. I don't really know what's happening here. So I'm like, okay. Huh. Okay.
I suppose my guess is that all of these energetic beings are around us all the time. Like, I mean, like, what do we, just like there are a million plants and animals,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Like, I suspect and imagine that they've got to be, there's got to be energies from everywhere. So interesting. I don't know.
My understanding is that what I've learned about energy is that everything has an energy, and it is. I've had moments where an energy has actually glommed onto me, and I've had an energy session where somebody sees it and they can remove it, and it's actually taken energy away from me. So, and that's not like it's not evil versus good or anything like that. It's just there's energy everywhere, all around us.
Yeah.
And I think that was I might not have heard it well, but my understanding what Artemis or the collective was saying, I thought was more that because I understand energies everywhere, that I think they were talking about that, that nature is our provider of um of source energy. That's I kind of got that a little bit from but right before you came out the first time, came back the first time.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
that's just my insights right now.
Thank you. Thank you. Because I don't always remember everything that they say. I get the gist of it, but it's so sometimes I feel like I'm missing a few pieces of it. But
Ah,
it's my thought. Oh, yeah, because they were mentioning they were talking about interconnectedness.
yeah, exactly. Interconnectedness, that we're all connected. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, let's if they're still here. Sarah, do you want to are there would you have any questions specific to them that you would want to ask? Or
Yeah.
Sarah, are there any other questions that are follow-ups to that we can ask?
I I would, now that I've mentioned about energy, something, I've really been noticing lately that it really is a beautiful way to think of people as everybody has their own energy, and we think that when we're with somebody whose energy is down, that we take their energy, but we're just matching our own energy with theirs. So
Mm,
I would love to have more understanding of that, or a confirmation if that's possible, because what that does is it holds every single person accountable. You can no longer say that person made me feel this way. We made ourselves feel that way because we were willing to accept to change our energy. And I think that to me is a pretty magical thing right now that's happening within the humanness of life, it seems, is that we are actually being called to really hold our energy.
mm. That
So,
is that's an interesting question. That's an
yeah, so
interesting.
I think the question would be, is that true? Or are we being called to hold our own energy to raise the resonance? Because I don't mean to sound pessimistic, because I'm not a pessimistic person, but my understanding is that we will either evolve as humans or we will devolve. We're kind of at that a stage, and I don't have any fear about that. I'm just like, oh, okay, well, let me be part of the train that wants to evolve, because that's the train I want to be on. So I'd
Yeah.
be really curious about that.
So tell me one more sorry,
Okay.
but one more time specifically the
Yeah.
question.
Specific question would be, uh, is is that accurate about energy, where people don't really um, absorb other people's energy? We transform our own energy
Mm,
when we're with somebody negative. So I'd like to confirm that. And then, are we at a place where it's really important for us to hold the resonance high so that others can, like, I'm a light keeper, so that others can see this as well and raise their resonance, because that's how we will evolve. I don't know if that's too much. Okay.
Yes, it is not too much. The truth of the matter is that energies react to other energies back and forth. If you would think of your entire physicality, your energetic system, as particles for a moment, for indeed it is particles. And if you think about the particles being very contracted or dense in certain areas and less dense in other areas, and the more further away from your physicality, your energy becomes much less dense. When you interact with others, the first moment of interaction is at a distance of the particles. And thus, those who are highly sensitive feel into a very large, wide, energetic body. Those who are less sensitive tend to live closer to their bodies. When you interact with someone, you move into a room or new space, and there is another across the way. Should you be highly sensitive, reaching 5 feet, 6 feet, 10 feet away, your particles interact with theirs immediately. And the sensitivity that you have will allow you to sense or feel the state of these other beings. You may choose to commingle with them or not at that time. For those who are less sensitive, it takes longer to find this feeling. When you are interacting with one who is of similar resonance, of similar vibration, you feel a coherence and you enjoy being together. You feel as though you know each other. You feel as though you are already connected. And this happens immediately. Whether you believe it or not, whether you fully are aware of the sense or not, your energetic body feels this immediately. For when you encounter negativity, which is in essence not negativity, that is the cognitive mind's way of describing it. In essence, it is a vibration that differs from yours. The particles, as they interact, may repel, may shift to adjust, or may come in contact and change. And so your way of interacting is often dictated by your previous experiences, the loops that we have discussed earlier, and your natural tendency to be aware of the certain circumstance and situation. It is completely within your choice how you interact with the being. Most often, you do not walk into a room and react. This person feels off, and I will work to stay in my system and therefore rise them up. No, that is not typically what would happen. Typically, you find a reaction that is discontinuous for you or disharmonious, and you protect yourself. The moment you protect yourself, you shift your vibration. Should you choose not to shift your vibration, staying at the level that you are living at, rising or lowering, does not matter. Staying where you are, you will either naturally repel them or intermingle with them, as is your choice and their choice. And so to affect those around us, you see, we have to first stay within our resonance and make the choice to stay within our resonance, but we do not affect them unless it is their choice. And most often, their choices are made per their own circumstances and situations. It is completely their choice to be affected one way or another. It is completely your choice to be affected one way or another. And so, as you come back to the concept of the global transformation that is occurring, for indeed it is more than a global transformation, it is a cosmic transformation and an interdimensional transformation, it all comes down to choice, individual choice. The more you are exposed to different ways of being, one day it's a pinprick, the next day it's an advertisement, the next day it is a piece of music, so on and so forth. The more we shift, for we shift towards that which we recognize is safe. And so what is important at this time on this planet is to not worry about or participate in others' ways of being, others' energies, but to be within yourself a consistent point or source of your own transformation. For when you are of this space and this mindset and this work, more cannot happen, cannot not be interacting with it. It is their choice. And as they move throughout their days, the more often they come into contact with these individuals who have made this choice, they will begin to see through their own loops that there is safety, that there is something here for them. And that ripple effect is indeed, in fact, the way it works. There is no forcing, no showing, no being a certain way to cause a certain outcome for others. There is only your own internal dialogue and your own internal transformation. Did that answer your question?
Yes, wonderful.
Are there more questions? Please do not hesitate.
I have a question about choice.
You have a question about
Choice.
Mm.
Who is it that chooses if we have a mind and we have other people or our surrounding, what we hear or listen, that affects us?
You choose. Always your choice, never another's choice. She who sits in front of you has many surrounding her, as you know. We give input, we give ideas, we give suggestions, we give an idea of what is possible. But it is always her choice to act or not to act. And it is always her choice to say, no, I don't want to go this way. Let's go this way. The choice is always yours. And when you give that choice up to outside influences, this is when your life becomes not your own. And even when you think you have no choice, you have choice. Quite certainly, let us give an extravagant example. You are living in a mansion and you have $3 million. You have a choice to stay and live in this space. You have a choice to give it up and do something completely different with your life. Most within your culture would think you crazy to give this up and do something different with your life. To go live on the streets and have no food and no shelter and no clothing. You would think that is not a choice, but it is a choice. Put another way, every moment of every day, you have complete choice. Should you arrive at an illness, let us use the term cancer, although we would disagree with the connotations of that, but that is another conversation for another time. You arrive at a diagnosis of cancer. You may choose the diagnosis and to accept the course of action that is prescribed, or you may not. You have complete choice over how you live your life. You may think that you do not have a choice to breathe or not to breathe. You must breathe. But you do have that choice. You may not choose to not breathe. But there is choice. And now, I believe one question had to do with time. The question was, as we recall, what is time? Time for us does not look like time as it is on your planet. But since I have been a participant on your planet several times, I completely understand your way with it. Time is a construct created by man to understand forward momentum. Previously, it was ruled by the sun. As the sun moves to this moment, this task is done, and so on and so forth throughout the day. Beings before there was significant cognitive action were ruled by the sun. Time does not exist if you realize that all things are interconnected and all things are one and all things are arriving and flowing through at the same time in the same place. Past happens as the present happens. The present happens as the future happens. And all bends to the same wavelengths as it flows through the continuum. Your presence here on earth at this time for these particular experiences in this particular set of growth creations are aided by a construct that allows you to understand that one foot in front of the other creates a walking motion. That is not necessary for other areas of the universe. And so often the question comes, what is time, when one realizes that this microcosm of a construct was created for this particular experience as humans have grown and evolved. And from this perspective, when you realize that time is this construct, you begin to realize that future and past conjoin as is present. This allows us to foresee those that have the ability to reach further away into their energetic fields and into the spaces and fields surrounding them, to have this level of access to information that others with less sensitivity do not have. It is not that we bend time. It is that without the need for this particular forward momentum set of experiences, we experience totality rather than separation. Do you have questions?
I have a quick question relating to what you just said. You said that it was based on the sun before, and the sun moves. So is it the sun that's moving, or is it the earth that is moving?
Excellent question. Both. Absolutely both. The sun moves with a level of vibration that is different from the level that is within the planets. As we know, the planetary system revolves. The sun is also in motion, in constant and perpetual motion, as is every particle. But its vibration and movement is at a significantly different, as you might call it, pace. And so it feels and seems static. It feels and seems as if it is a grounding element as the earth revolves. In fact, it is not. It is in its own way in motion and also traveling. We do not have at this time the ability to measure that as well. But in effect, unless you are relating specifically to this system, it is not necessary, for it just exists.
So are you saying that everything is happening all at the same time?
Yes.
Future, past, present.
Yes.
Thank you for verifying.
Yes. Hard to understand from the point of view of being exactly where you are. Certainly, the human life exists as we have described it here. Hard to understand that this is also occurring and this is also occurring. But with the wavelengths of infinity moving in such a way, it is simultaneous. That would bring the conversation around to what many feel is relevant at this time, speaking on the quantum physics level. We have access only to her language centers at this time, and so we do not have access to the language that would fully describe this experience. But nevertheless, the conversations revolve in these circles around time jumping or time bending, moving from one timeline to the next. What is this? Whilst you consider past, present, and future all arriving at the same time, it would then make sense to be able to jump into your future or jump into your past, currently not physically possible within your planet. But in reality, one is shifting their experience here on Earth. At this present moment in time, you do not have the ability to move through your timeline like this. Really, in essence, what you are doing as you, quote unquote, level up or shift the dynamics, again, we come back to the loop. The loop that was created and shifting the loop is quite literally what you are doing. You are shifting your way of being to create a new outcome. And this is simultaneously happening in your future and in your past. Interesting. Do you have more questions?
I do. So if you heal like your ancestral, um, some of the healing that will affect you in your present life, yes or no?
Yes.
And can you change timelines based on your frequency or vibration that you're choosing at the moment, any given moment?
Can you be more specific with an example?
Depending on your vibration or frequency, you can change your, I guess, where your reality, basically. I would just think different timelines. For example, if you're feeling lower vibe and you are experiencing a certain thing and you work on yourself and try to raise the vibration or your frequency, can you basically switch a timeline if your life experience and you're in a different experience, different level, or is it just a different perception?
Currently, you're working with a different perception.
Okay.
What you are describing is discontent with what is at the moment and how to shift and morph and change that rather than moving back in time to create a new reality. Do your choices in the current moment affect your past? And then affecting your past, move forward to where you are. The depth and width of transformation that must occur in order to have that actuality arrive is not within human capability as it stands in this particular moment. The depth of transaction that must occur in order to allow that facilitate that is at a far deeper particle level than we currently have access to. What you are describing, we think, is a set of circumstances you are wishing to make adjustments and changes to currently. And yes, you can do that. You can absolutely do that by connecting into yourself, by connecting into the greater consciousness, by reaching your energy and your intentions out and creating that which you would like beyond yourself into the field and call that to you. Absolutely, 100%. Particularly when you come to groups such as these that are with powerful beings who have many powerful supporting elements. The amplification of your intention is that much greater. And that is one of the 3 parts of your manifestation and your shifting. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Yes. Excellent. Who would like to go next?
Can I ask something about challenges that can happen?
Yeah.
Are they always no? Are they can they be coincidental, or are they always kind of connected to your own inner world as being a reflection that you bring out, let's say, for you to learn something from? Or can it be a pure coincidence?
Excellent, excellent question. Let us rephrase that. The question is, are all challenges that we face, all circumstances that we face for our greater good, for our learning and our growth? Or are some of them coincidence or just difficulties that arise in everyday life? I would first put it to the group. What do you think? Okay, I'm coming out for just a second. I don't know. I haven't even thought about that before. It's such a great question.
There's a tendency sometimes that you want to make it as if it's just something coming to you as really annoying and not really contributing to to what you thought you were heading towards or something? It's really like disturbing it.
Like totally. I'm going to jump on you there for a second, Ken. I was having a moment, like 2 nights ago. I was driving down the street. There was a car coming straight at me. And it was just a matter, we're on a narrow street, so somebody had to pull over and let one of us pass, right? And it's like not like in the movies, like a chicken and playing chicken kind of thing. It was like the thoughts in my head were, is this guy gonna turn, like get out of my way? I was going for it, you know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, so, and then I was like, okay, but wait, is this happening so that I can recognize and pay attention to what my mind is saying and then I can be kind and move over and wait? And no, he actually stopped and I went around him. But I was having a very similar conversation. Are all of these things for our greater good? Are there happenstances? Are there like, and if it's a combination, then what's the ratio of the combination? You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah, exactly.
you know
Or
what I
does
mean?
it change depending on your mood or something?
Yeah. And then how much of it are we creating versus how much of it are our supportive, like how much of it is
Yeah,
happening for us?
yeah. And it's I also relate it to like, do we have soul plans or not? Is it something that we choose in this life, or is it something that we chose before or in other
Actually, I just heard the answer to that earlier today on another call that I was on this afternoon. So like I seriously want to dive in and ask all these questions. Just give me a second to switch my foot. I sit with my legs crossed and sometimes they lose
yeah.
lose feeling there. So yeah, I mean, seriously, what's the propensity for this? Like, how does this work? I don't know. Let's find out because I'm super interested. And Dawn, you said this came up for a little while ago when we were having conversations, and you were like, what are the signs? Are they actually all signs or are they not signs? How do I know if they're not signs? Is it being put in my place for my great, like, how do we differentiate? So I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
So,
right. Definitely.
right?
How do
Yeah.
you decipher what is a sign or what is,
Yeah.
is it just there for happenstance or some learning or, it's
Yeah.
hard to decipher.
So hard to decipher. Let's find out. So that was like maybe 5 questions in one. But let's do it. Okay.
Has anybody heard of Akashic Records before? That term?
Yes.
Because to me, that's the stuff I've done. That is us understanding. Okay, so it is us understanding what our soul's journey is.
Mm-hmm.
That's my my learning, my teaching, what I'm learning.
Oh,
And I
wow.
love that because my understanding is that when we are no longer in this body, our soul has a reckoning. And we don't know that as, like, I don't know that as Sarah right now, but when I am no longer this body and Sarah, my soul will know what it's done, and then it knows. But it forget, like, when a soul enters a body, it doesn't remember what it has had. That's why when people have these abilities to channel and to ask questions or whatever, we can get to a better understanding of each of ourselves. That's what I'm into right now, really understanding.
Yeah.
I don't know if that adds to, but
totally does. You guys, this is going to be a thing. So please interact with them when they come through, because they're gonna, I can tell you, like, the energy that's coming through you right now, they're like really excited. It's like party time.
cool.
I'm just holding my shoulders down, but they don't want to be down.
Got it.
So, yes, most excellent questions. Please keep them coming. There are many of you that come into these bodies with a purpose. That purpose is sometimes very simple. just for the experience of being alive. For their energies are from locations or live in different places. This is the only way we can describe it to you that you would understand, that do not experience the full totality of what you do here on this planet. There are others who come to facilitate other people's lives, and there are others like she who sits in front of you, who was given this particular soul contract and was chosen and chose this purpose. There are many who choose significant purposes and many who are simply here to experience. All is welcome, all is good. When you come with a particular purpose, most often, not always, but most often, there are glimmers of it within your life. And you are taught as a construct of your conditioning and your culture to ignore them. We repeat, within your culture and your conditioning, you are most often taught to ignore them. Most of you on this call have experienced this. Little glimmers here and there, that they're not just that you are missing the connection, not just that there is something else greater than yourself, but truly experiences where you felt not just connection, but an importance. And we do not say this lightly to brush it off or to build you up. We say this as pure acknowledgement for those experiences within your life. For your culture does not hold these experiences often in high regard, and we see you. And we have been waiting for you. It is true that there are ways for you to access more information. These levels of access often come with great consequences, so they are highly protected. There are many terms for what you have described on Earth and in other cultures, in other places. You may think of it as a library, for that is a reference you understand here on Earth. But in fact, it could be more readily described as a field or location of consciousness where all passes through. And now to come to your question, are circumstances put in place for your learning and growing and for your higher good? Yes. Most definitely. And specifically, often for those who have come with a purpose. For as you all know, creation and transformation only occurs with friction. We repeat, transformation and change and creation only occurs with friction. For think of yourself as a newborn babe who has no wants, needs, desires, has only the reference point of very little water, mother's heartbeat, completely content. It is only when the birth occurs and the cold air hits that friction arises and there is a need created. It is much the same way whether big or small, for all your endeavors throughout your life and throughout this experience in this particular body. Are all occurrences within your life interconnected? Yes. Are all put there for specific purpose? No. There will be moments of happenstance and moments of serendipity. There are billions upon 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 billions of particles on this planet alone. All are interconnected, but you can imagine that they all do not synchronize always at the exact same time. And so then we come to the concept of signs. Most often in the beginning stages of this work, thought of as coming from supportive beings around you, from past ancestors or loved ones who have transitioned back into their energeticness, from supportive beings in different locations and places. Are they trying to connect with you? Often they are. Are these circumstances and happenstances sometimes coincidence? Yes. How to tell the difference between the two? In the beginning of accessing your level of consciousness, of accessing your inner world, and thereby then moving into the access of your outer world, it is very easy to mistake a connection or access to guides as being coincidence or vice versa. This, once we are working on those connections, once we come to the work of developing those connections, this is something we discuss. There is a way to tell once you become very tuned into your core system and physicality and energy. And it is for this reason, Dawn, that we would have you begin in level 1 and not jump to level 2 immediately for this purpose alone. For your power is great. Your potential is ready and able. But first, we must develop this core energetic sense. And once we are in tune, you may think of it as tuning a stringed instrument. Once it is tuned, the internal knowing develops such that you are aware of what is taking place within your system. There will be a resonance occur when it is a guide speaking to you or when it is your true intuition. This tuning does not take a specific amount of time. It is different for everyone. It does depend on the system you are working with, as well as how controlling you find that loop that we've been discussing. Once you are tuned, you can never be untuned. And this is one of the primary goals of this particular channel. This particular channel is tasked with bringing as many individuals into tune as possible. At this time, we understand that we have given you a significant volume of information to digest this evening. We will be sure to disseminate the transcripts of this time together so that you have the opportunity to reread it and absorb it as is effectual for you. Please do not hesitate to reach out with further questions, either by coming to the next one of these sessions or through simply communicating via any way that is easiest for you. It is easy for us to create a voice memo to send to you to help you with your furthering. We will also have available very shortly many of these micro meditations to help you to gain further access and tuning. And with that, we wish you a beautiful evening. All right.
Thank you.
That was really specific.
That was, and that was wonderful. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Very
Okay.
affirming. Thank you, everybody, for your questions, eh?
Mhm.
Hi, Natalie. How are you?
Hello, I'm great. How are you?
Good. Good to see you. You must have jumped on like right in the middle of a whole bunch of stuff coming out.
Yes, I came very late, but I'm so glad I made it.
It's all good. It's all good.
Incredible. Thank you.
So we had so many questions tonight, some that I had no idea what the answer was going to be, and some that I was a little bit familiar with, and then some that were just like they just dove in and just went there. So they, Sarah, my Sarah, usually always sends out, or do you post or you send out, Sarah? I don't even know if you're still there. Are you still there?
I'm
She's
here.
still-
Yes.
Do we post or do we send out so everybody can have access to all of this?
So they go on to YouTube, and then we also put the recordings on your website. And I imagine we'll be reaching out with an email with links as well.
Yeah. Do you guys
Mhm.
prefer video? Can I just ask to everybody, do you like to watch them again? Would you rather just have the audio? Would you rather have a transcript? I'm just curious, like how you all absorb your information. Just the only reason why I'm asking is because I tend not to watch videos. I personally tend to read. So I would want a transcript. So I'm just curious, like what helps you or serves you better?
Audio.
I have to listen or watch. I can't read very well.
I can't read either.
Okay.
I mean, I can read, but you know, you know what I mean.
I understood.
Both Sarah and Don are illiterate. No.
No. I
We're not.
understood. I understood. Everybody's taking in their information differently now. That's why I'm asking, right? We're so conditioned by our algorithms, and we're so conditioned by like, do you actually read the New York Times or do you watch the videos that they're now posting? You know what I mean? Or does anybody read? I personally do, because I don't know why I take in better by reading. But that also could just because I can't listen to myself and I can't watch myself.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So.
That will come. That will come.
I think so too.
Just love yourself a bit more.
Exactly, eh? Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
It's really true.
Yeah. So I'm getting listening to myself because they give me, I have 2 sessions a day typically, and they give me specific meditations for like there's ones that I do immediately upon waking up. And so I do listen to myself, and it has become a little bit more normal. But within the context of what they're saying versus taking in actual like giant amounts of information, I'm not sure. Do you know what I mean? So.
Yeah. Usually I go in look for things whenever something pops up as a question or a desire to know. Then I
Yeah.
go out and look for it. So
Mhm.
for me, if there was some kind of an archive that I could come to when I remember something that was said back then in that video, then I would go to that video and listen back to that specific part or something. That's how it works for me. It's not that I don't tend to watch hour-long videos
Yeah.
over. When I was in the session, I will never go back
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
get the full thing, because only the things that really trigger me,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
the small things. Yeah.
That makes sense. That must be that I think that must be across the board for many people, I'm guessing, because the daily transmissions that we do, the daily down, I call them daily downloads. It sounds silly. But the lessons that they give to be putting out on social that are coming out, they're usually between 6 and what are they, Percy? They're like 6 and 10 minutes long or something like that.
Yeah, those I tend to watch. Yeah, and
Yeah.
the shorts also I like them, and they are often inspirational. They're well chosen.
We're going to be collecting all of them. It's one of the tasks that I have to get on here, collecting all of them to create a library
Yeah,
going forward.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and we'll endeavor to label them so that it's easy to
Mm,
find the ones that are
mhm.
specific to particular topics that are of interest. Like I've
Yeah,
done several sessions this week that are based around um, uh, oddly taking care of like things that you wouldn't think of that are so important and relevant. Taking care of your body in a different way than we're used to in this culture.
mhm.
Fear-based practices that they've been talking about and giving practices for that I'm like, what? Oh, okay. Yes, let's do that.
Mhm.
Things that like they're really interested in shifting, like I'm using the thing that they do. I think they were doing like this thing, right?
The
They're
loop.
uh-huh. They're constantly talking about how to shift the loop. It's a little bit Sarah and Dawn like parts work, but not really. Um, it's a little bit like a whole mission. It's like all the modalities have this kind of thought process around how to deal with the parts of your cognitive mind, whether it's experiences or belief systems or whatever. They're just generically using the whole language to discuss how to work with the cognitive mind so that we can further access this and this. So there's tons of like they're completely always addressing like what's going on in this for people. They're not dismissing, I guess is what I'm trying to say. They're not,
Mm,
because they're focused on giving people access back to this.
mm.
In order to do that, you have to deal with this.
Yeah,
Yeah. So lots and lots and lots of stuff and they just keep coming, but they also keep coming in response to what you guys are bringing, right? They directly will give teachings based on the exact um,
mm,
circumstances. And now I'm understanding, even preceded that, like I understand after our first round of level 2 today, I understand, oh, that's why they want us to work on a project, because it creates blocks in the road that then it creates questions around, it creates the friction points that cause challenges that then we can address and move through and gain more access through that. So
yeah,
so we're creating transformation through creating, like putting ourselves in the way of friction to be able to deal with the friction to grow is
yeah.
basically what they're
And
doing.
it gives direction also, and
Yeah.
it creates clarity.
Yeah.
Just because we can all sometimes get lost in too many ideas coming at once, let's say.
Yeah.
Just we are putting these limitations is actually, yeah, carving a path that is revealing itself along the way by doing it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it keeps our minds a bit attuned to one or a few single things at a time for not getting overloaded with too many different impulses or something.
Yeah. 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 Purpose. I'm going to just draw us all back. I was first. I just want to ask, and I know like I'm cool to stay. But if y'all have to go on to the next thing. But I wanted to say before anybody left, it was super clear to me that everybody on this call has some kind of calling. I don't know if you guys all got that sense. They don't usually say things like that unless it's like an entire room full of like people with something to do in their lives. Do you know what I mean? So in general, I don't think those are the type of people that get called to this work anyway. But I just had this overarching sense of purpose, even if we all don't know what that is, or having an inkling of it, but not being specific to where it's headed. So I just thought that I would draw our attention to that because I think that was really interesting.
I appreciate that. And it affirms for me. So I'm very grateful. And I also know that the messages I keep getting is that humans have come into this world with such fear. And like what you were saying, Rachel, and it's about love, not about fear. And we have to be aware of the things that are trying to keep us in fear. This isn't to be afraid, and ironically, but I'm just very excited to learn more about that and how we as human beings can do that. I think that's part of my job here on this earth. So I'll be fascinated when we can do more.
I was just going to say, do you want me to drop in real quick on that one? Because I'm buzzing.
Please, yes, do it.
Yeah.
Love it.
You guys, if you got to run, go ahead and run. It's okay. I've got childcare out there, so I'm good to hang for.
Awesome.
Yeah. So because fear was a huge topic this week, huge topic this week, and I don't know if it's cosmically a topic. I don't really understand or do astrology. I respect it to the utmost, but it's like kind of not my thing. So I don't have enough working memory to hold it within my space. So, in fact, that's actually what it is. I don't have the working memory to hold that. Anyway, sorry, that was an aha moment. As I learn more and more about my ADHD that I didn't know I had, I'm finding all these things out. But yeah, fear is, so what's the question? Do we come into these bodies with fear? Is fear created in these bodies? Why is there so much fear? And what does Sarah have to do with fear? Or is that part of her, I hate the word path, but it's the only word that's coming to my mind at the moment.
Is teaching about love?
Yes.
That's good. Yeah, that's the opposite.
And how can we overcome that?
How can we overcome fear? Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Great. That was a lot of questions, guys. Because again, I don't have the strongest working memory.
We'll help.
Fire off the questions at us.
We're here for you.
So,
with
awesome.
You.
These are excellent questions. Yes, you do not come into these bodies with fear. It is not a prerequisite.
Mm-hmm.
You come into these bodies with a certain amount of knowledge of what you are choosing to create or choosing to learn. And that is it. You come into these bodies knowing nothing by design so that the experience can unfold organically.
Mm-hmm.
Fear is circumstantial. Fear is created by the cognitive mind protecting you from a circumstance that you do not want. It is part of being human. There is no way to disassociate or dislodge from fear. It is one of the loops that is the strongest and spurs many people on. It is not bad.
Mm.
It is friction
Mhm.
that is needed to create forward momentum. Think of it like this. A 12-year-old girl who is fearful of failing in her math test learns to study.
Mm.
We are fearful of that which we don't know. We are fearful of that which we don't know for simply the experience of having set our foot into an unknown and having a difficult experience. For example, a toddler who knows no fear sets foot in her grandmother's house. It is full of smells that are unrecognizable. It is full of sensations that are discomfortable to her. It is full of squishy, yucky experiences. She needs to protect herself to come back to her safety. She becomes fearful and naturally associates the unknown with those circumstances. And this is how fear loops begin. There is a fear loop for every circumstance or situation that you do not like. Absolutely. It is not one part. It is a multitude of circumstances that arise on top of each other, 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 on top of each other. And it is these friction points and your way of being around the friction points that create your identity. And so consider, again, the little girl who steps into her grandmother's space, completely unknown, uncomfortable, fear loop created, who she is in that moment, what she decides to do in that moment becomes the result of that fear loop. If she runs away, if she is taught to be silent and acquiesce, if she hides, if she becomes loud, these are the resulting actions of the fear loop, and they are embedded within the nervous system. And they play out consistently for the rest of your life. Should you find yourself in a situation prior to language where you are in fear, the loops become very difficult to break, for without language, we have no clarity or specificity. This is why the early years, in particular the first and second year, are so very important. The experiences of those first 2 years that you will never remember embed themselves deeply. So, fear is an integral part of being in this body, in this experience. How do we move through fear? It may be different for each individual, for each individual's fear loop is different. And each fear loop for each different type of experience may be different. And so the resolve is not to take a pill and move on with the rest of your life. The resolve is to dive into the work of learning how to deal with the loops. And from this perspective, the first place that we would suggest that you work with it is by recognizing it and acknowledging it, much like you do in your heart's work. Ah, I am experiencing fear. I am in an experience that causes fear. Ah, I have fear. Ah, this is fear. Oh, this is fear. However you require to speak of it. Once you recognize that you are in fear, you are experiencing fear. You are not the fear. You are experiencing fear. If you can use the language, I am experiencing fear, that alone will shift the way of being toward it. Once that is able to take place, if you are able to speak the words in a different tonality, rather than speaking fear to fear, oh, I am in fear, with the tension and the creep, to be able to breathe and acknowledge, hello, fear. I am experiencing fear. Oh, I am experiencing fear. Oh, I am experiencing fear. Shifts the vibration immediately within your core system. Does not dissipate the fear. That is not our intention at all. Our intention is only to shift the vibration within your system as it recognizes fear. Even if this much. The first time, it may be this much, but over time, it will grow. Next step, to become familiar with your fear in every way, shape, and form, as if it is your friend. I notice I'm experiencing fear. It is of a certain quality and color today. How are you, fear? I welcome you into my space. Welcome. Be with the fear. Luxuriate in the fear, for you came into this body to experience all that there is to experience. Allow it to be lush and vibrant and alive. Hello, fear. Once that has taken place, you will notice a significant shift within your core tuning. You will continue to experience fear. That is part of being human, but your way of being with it will shift. And once that shift takes place, rather than living in fear for days and weeks and months and years, you will live in fear, but with your fear, beside your fear. And it will live and last but moments. And that is true transformation. That is the work. And once that is able to take place, not just with fear, but with a multitude of other emotions that you would identify with, you find that the tuning of your core being is allowed to resonate at a freestanding way. And once that happens, your connections increase. And once your connections increase, your reach increases. And once your reach increases, your intentions sharpen. And with extended reach and sharpened intention, all is possible. Was that helpful?
Really.
Yes.
It
Very,
was
thank you.
very,
Yeah.
very, okay. Wonderful.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
We will be sure to slice this particular chunk for you to partake of when you need it.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Very cool. Love it. Yeah, it's a guide. It can be a guide, not to not have it, but to have it and honor it, acknowledge it. It's the first step, eh? That makes a lot of sense.
Everybody that I've worked with so far, Sarah, the first thing they keep talking about is this observing. That's the because without observing,
Yes, exactly.
you can't recognize. It's like what they talk about, all right, you can't recognize what you're doing. And that's, I think, the hardest part, because we're not taught as a society, we're not bringing up our kids to do that.
It's true.
And I think that's like like figuring out ways to do that is the key to everything else, I think. Yeah, from my own experience too, the giant changes that I've seen in the last year, everything started to click when I started doing that. And that was like, gosh, I don't even know, like 2 months ago. Yeah. So
beautiful. Thank you. Very affirming.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome.
And this is monthly, Rachel?
Yeah. We do this monthly. Yeah.
Bravo.
Yeah.
Thank you for your purpose and so much more.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for coming, you guys. This was actually so much fun. I always get on these and I'm always like, I don't want to do this. 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 And then I'm always left with, wow, that was amazing. Let's do it again.
It's great. We appreciate it so much. Thank you.
That's helping us, so much to be more of who we're, I think, meant to be. So I'm grateful. Yeah,
anytime. So as I say, just shoot me a text or shoot me an email or anything if you have questions in between sessions or whatever you need, however you need it. They literally will just read a text and then start buzzing. That's like what happened with Claudia. I know we didn't get to all of your questions tonight, Claudia, but like that's literally what happens. I'll read a text of questions and my whole body floods. So they thrive off of questions. So yeah, it's pretty cool, actually. So.
And so if we if we send a written message, will it be answered the next time, or how do I?
Yeah, I think probably like as we get going here, I think like if it's a short, quick one, particularly if it's specific to you, then sometimes what I'm doing with my friends is I'll just shoot them a voice message, or I'll just say, well, do you just want to get on a call for 5 minutes? Because it's better if I'm not going to, I mean, I can type it. I literally can't type it, but voice is easier.
Yeah, faster.
Yeah, they do type and they do write for me, but it's like they have to move more. So it's possible to do it, but also like if it's extensive, if it's something that everyone needs, then I can just do a download and send, like it'll be something that'll end up on in one of the locations, but we can just send it straight to you if it's like one of those chunky ones. Or if it's like super beefy, like a couple of the things that we talked about tonight, sometimes then it might be better to just wait to the next one. So, but
thank you so much. I'm gonna say goodbye, and I appreciate it. It's an honor to be with everybody.
Have a great evening, Sarah. But one thing I did want to mention to you, Ken, is that their responses always are indicative of who's in the room. So if it's just something like I send you a direct response, I have noticed that I don't know how this works or why it works, but it's very much they're very much attuned to whoever's right there and what that particular group or individual needs. So it sounds different depending, it's like the same message, but will sound different. So they're taking into consideration who's listening and what that group of people or that person specifically needs. If I might say that. So they might even direct me to wait till next time because more people are coming that need that information versus, no, just go ahead and send this kind of thing. They're amazingly particular and specific. It surprises me all the time.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. So anyway, you guys, thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful evening. As soon as we have all the recordings organized and that kind of thing, we'll send you copies for your references so you can continue to listen through and all that good stuff.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Rachel.
Rachel.
Thank you so much.
Rachel.
Thank you guys.
Take
Have a
care.
beautiful night.
You too,
Yes,
take
have
care.
fun. Take
Bye.
care.
Thanks for watching. The real work begins, of course, when you turn off this video. It's one thing to sit in these vibrations and listen and feel good, and it's another thing to take it into your real life and really connecting to the greater consciousness and that well of well-being that exists for all of us. My hope is that these messages simply remind you of the connection that's available, the guides that are here to help, quite literally the love that surrounds us and is always within us. Trust what you know, take what serves you, and leave the rest. Come back as often as you need to listen to the messages, to sit in the vibration and allow it to sink into your tissues. Reach out with any questions that you have. It's been my experience that the guides will always answer. Not necessarily always in the way you're expecting or in what you're hoping, but always in the way that you need for that particular moment in time. If this felt meaningful, there are more of these transmissions on this channel. Please feel free to subscribe. We also offer one-on-one sessions and community support for those who are looking for a deeper connection. Thanks for being here with me in the collective today.